By order of the Peaky Blinders.
Anyway, we're Peaky Blinders. We're not scared of coppers.
That's right.
If they come for us, we'll cut them a smile each.
My word to who? To a Peaky Blinder?
Arthur Shelby of the Peaky Blinders.
Thomas, you're a bookmaker, a robber, a fighting man. You're not a fool.
Did you know they were going to do it before they did it? Because that's someone who's in charge, isn't it? And who knows before it happens.
I know what I know. If you don't know, then you don't fucking know, do you?
By order of the Birmingham Urban District Council, it's time to talk Peaky Blinders. Welcome to PBP, a Peaky Blinders podcast. I'm Jamie G. Esquire 5 MD, Master of Surgical Arts. I'm here with the main man, my co-host, Magnum Mills, and we're going to break down the penultimate episode of Peaky Blinders. Magnum Mills, this one had a little bit of everything. It felt like it's what we've been dying for 4 episodes. We finally got it, and boy, did it hit.
Yeah, man, I gotta say, this is one of those episodes immediately with the cold open. As soon as the music hits, you see Tommy Shelby doing the walk, you know, like, all right, here we go. This is going to be one of those. I think a lot of people who have maybe been down on some of the previous episodes this season are going to really like this one. A lot to discuss here. So let's get down to business. Jamie G, hit us up with the details of the episode.
Yes, sir, my dude. This was season 6, episode 5, titled The Road to Hell. Oh, yes, it was. This originally aired March 28, 2022 on BBC One. Directed by Anthony Byrne. He also directed all 6 episodes of season 5, and he is in fact directing all 6 episodes of season 6. Super like that a lot, Magnum Mills. And written by creator and showrunner Stephen Knight. Again, super awesome. Love that they're keeping it with those 2 folks here. And man, oh man, Road to Hell, Magnum Mills. It's not exactly a highway to hell, but this is up there with it, bro. This is a big episode.
Boy, Jamie, you just made me think, like, could Peaky pull off AC/DC in an episode? I mean, that's a little, maybe they tune it down in a time appropriate way or something, but they might.
There was great tracks.
There might be some Back in Black. I could see him pulling it off a little bit. It's not impossible, I think. And just a reminder for everybody here, we are going to be spoiling all aired episodes of Peaky Blinders and anything that may have been in the news about, say, future movies, future spin-offs, stuff like that. Just stuff that's been in, reported in the mainstream, no leaks or anything like that. Just FYI, for the most part, we're spoiling everything that exists in the Peaky Blinders universe. That's it. We got to get right into the episode. And like we were alluding to, we opened the episode with a classic Peaky opening. Tommy walking slowly towards his destination while the music just, plays loudly over him. It's cranked up to 11, and we see Tommy arrive at the opium den, apparently, that Arthur tore up in the last episode. The owner apologizes, but Tommy doesn't really seem to care. He sits down, asks for a green tea, opens his briefcase, and we see that he's got a bomb, some dynamite with an active timer. While the wife gets tea for Tommy, the owner runs downstairs to get Tommy all of his opium. Tommy asks for it. Tommy puts the opium in the briefcase with the bomb and tells them that they will no longer sell opium there, nor will opium be sold in Small Heath or Bordsley. Tommy leaves, and the wife comments, as she had during the affair, that, oh no, that wasn't a real bomb. Tommy must have been bluffing. And we see Tommy walk away. As he goes over a bridge, he throws his briefcase in the water where it explodes. And then as he leaves, Tommy passes a message to a police officer. Tell the pub and cafe owners on Montague Street that there will be no more Montague Street, as they'll have it demolished if they sell any more opium. They'll be replaced with apartments by order of the Birmingham Urban District Council. Title card.
Just awesome, bro. And that was one of my favorite quotes here from the scene, Tommy. Because we've just come accustomed to over the years here in the Peaky Blinder universe to hearing by order of the Peaky fucking Blinder. Like, that's, you just expect it. When Tommy broke out with the Birmingham Urban District Council, that was a really cool moment in this opening scene. And this opening scene is just, you couldn't have said it any better. It's badass, my dude. But I also like Tommy with the, from now on, you'll only sell cake, cigarettes, and tea, as he slowly sips his green tea. I mean, the dude was badass, spot on here. One thing that I think was underrated, Magnum Mills, before we kind of go through some of this a little bit, I thought the ability to visually see the surroundings in this part of town, that little overpass bridge, the water down there, you don't really get to see this. We constantly see the shipyard, we constantly see the inside of the bar, inside of Townie's house, inside of their bookmaking operation. You don't get to see kind of around the town a little bit when there's not like fucking flame shooting and just pure industrial, 1920s look. This was pretty cool. You got to see that a little bit, and I like that, man. As he's walking up the bridge and drops the bomb, and boom, shit explodes in the water. Kind of a cool scene visually for me.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's there are certain limitations as far as budgets and sets and stuff like that, but I think they made it, like you said, a nice choice here to have the big kind of floor to ceiling windows from in the opium den place, so you could see both in and out, to give them, again, there was a perfect with Tommy walking over the bridge. I'm not so sure that he really trusted his watch and that timer when he dropped that. I think they're trying to show that he's living on the edge now. I know he wants to accomplish his plan, but maybe he's just not afraid if he's off. But the way he drops it, that could in theory blow up the bridge if it went off on the way down, or and he did blow up the opium with it. So I guess that says something, because I wasn't really sure if this was about rerouting the opium trade, or like wanting it not to be done locally anymore, to, like you said, to, in his vow to be a better person or whatever, to do better. So do you have any thoughts on that? About, was this just a thing about how we might move the supply line to Liverpool, or do you think it was more of a thing about his conscience, or maybe a little column A, a little column B?
Absolutely. Before I do that, though, he is living on the edge. You can't help yourself from falling. Maybe we get an AC/DC and an Aerosmith in here, but I do want to comment real quick, Magnum Mills. The song played while this epic scene is unfolding is Lawman by Girl Band, which was really cool. The choice of music has always been great in Peaky Blinders. We talked about this, I think, way back in the first episode of this PBP podcast that we've done. And man, they certainly delivered here. Now, getting to the opium, my dude, I gotta say, it's a combo platter here. I really think Tommy has figured out a way, and I'm trying to do this in my personal life. He's figured out a way to combine things that benefit his interests and also have a role in making the world a better place. And that is a really unique skill set. It's hard to fucking do. And I think he's done that. I mean, this is about keeping Arthur off the junk. At this point, we don't know. Arthur has sobered up a little bit. So you think maybe this is in retaliation to Arthur going in there. I mean, the last time we saw Arthur, he just robbed the place and was falling face first into looked to be a goddamn 3-foot puddle in the middle of the alleyway. I mean, he was, it looked like lucky he didn't drown. Like, you could swim in that thing. But all jokes aside, that's the last time we saw Arthur. So this could have been something where it's like, okay, maybe that was in response to that from a viewer standpoint, because you don't know yet. Also, he definitely is concerned about what it's doing publicly, but mostly I think it's about his interests and his ability to now move his opium to Liverpool to get to the United States of America, Boston, specifically Magnum Mills. Combo platter for me, baby.
I mean, that's interesting, because you really suggested a double combo platter, because you're right. He's trying to have his cake and eat it too there, but he's going to do the same thing later in the episode where he pays off Linda, get not to go back to Arthur, but also this money, she tells him, is going to be done to do good all over the world, and there will be a mission in his name or whatever. So again, having his cake and eating it too, he's keeping his promise to Arthur, but he's also still, trying to do good while accomplishing the thing he wants to do. So, he really is, Tommy trying to have it all, I guess.
Yeah, he is, man. You got to give him credit that with being able to do that. I mean, he's come a long way from season one Tommy to now. He's also a dude who's just realized that he's going to die. Like, I mean, he's having to, and we see that throughout this episode, he's having to accept his own mortality. And you kind of mentioned that here. I mean, he's said before he's living on borrowed time. He died in France, but now it's real, kind of. And I don't know. I love that this whole scene. I love that the wife in the den didn't think that the bomb was real. She kept telling her husband in Chinese that it's not real, it's not real, it's not real. And you're watching it from their perspective, and you see Tommy he's just Sunday strolling. I mean, there's no hurry or sense of urgency. He's just whistling Dixie, carrying this fucking briefcase, and all of a sudden he just drops it over the side of the bridge and kaboom. I mean, super cool scene. Great job. I cannot say enough good stuff about it.
Right before we move on to that, that's interesting, because she did say that, and you see it in the subtitles, but also she was struggling to pour Tommy his tea because she was nervous.
Oh,
So
yeah.
as much as she was talking a big game, she was still scared. And I think this also mirrors back a little bit to the first episode of the season where we saw Tommy go to the bar in Canada there and have to go upstairs and get the pitcher of water. And the lady's kind of like a little bit, whatever. And we see him again with the pouring of the whatnot. So I think, either a little bit of a callback or something that they're going for thematically here.
Well, Magnum Mills, one thing is for sure. This opening scene, this is right up there for best scene of the episode for me. Fan freaking tastic. Great job all around. Let's move on. We go to the garrison and we see the full Shelby clan is in attendance. And guess what, Magnum Mills? You ain't going to forget about FINN because you can't forget about Finn in this one because he's right there. You see the strapping young man. You see Finn with the chiseled fucking chin. He's in this thing. People out there in the world, in the Peaky Blinders podcast universe, this is PBP. You may have thought we forgot about Finn, but I'm going to tell you without a shadow of a doubt, the show forgot about Finn. And maybe Tommy even forgot about Finn a little bit, but shit, dude, here he is. And guess what, Magnum Mills? He gets married. I mean, it's just insane. We went from guessing if he was at, his own niece's funeral with Ruby to just showing up and being married, bro. I mean, I don't know. They had Finn get married off scene and they just kind of yada that shit. And any thoughts on this, Magnum Mills? Kind of one of those ones where it just, to me, it spoke volumes on how much they really give a shit about Finn.
It really does. That's all I can really say is just, you would hope that they had some greater plan for him. It just doesn't seem like they do. And obviously by bringing in yet another young Shelby, they already brought in Michael. Now they bring in Duke. They could have just given Finn a more prominent role. Maybe they've chosen not to. You have to think, again, me thinking the way I do, maybe that is something with an eye toward spinoffs or something like that, or maybe the actor is on another show. I haven't really looked into that. Maybe he has other obligations, so he can only do a limited number of scenes. But for the most part, you would think they would utilize him more, especially after the death of John or whatever. You have one less Shelby, and Michael's really been out of the picture this season too. You would think they would have given a bigger role to Finn. So I'm sorry that we forgot about you, Finn.
Well, in Magnum Mills, the crazy thing is they started to in season 5. He was running the books a little bit. That's where they brought in Billy. They started to give him, he was banging broads. Like he was starting to become like a bona fide Shelby. And we started to see him a little bit more. And then this season, just nothing. So Finn.
Yeah, bad spot to complain because this is obviously his biggest episode of the season, or maybe even the whole show so far. So probably the wrong time. So, apparently they did finally remember Finn.
They did remember Finn. That's true. So anywho, Magnum Mills, we're at the garrison and Tommy tells the family that he has news that is of interest to all of them. And right off the bat, you wonder, holy shit, is he actually going to tell him what he found out about the tuberculoma? No, good sir. First, he introduces Finn's new wife, Mary, to the family. Then he has our boy, Johnny Dogs. That's right, Johnny Dogs bring in Erasmus, who is Tommy's son, better known as Duke, whom we were introduced to in the previous episode with Esme. It's confirmed that his mother is dead. Tommy says that while he's bringing Duke into the fold, he'll have to earn his way into the family after Lizzie, super pissed off about Duke's presence. Tommy tells the family that he's made mistakes and he'll do his best to fix what he can. Ada asks if it's too early for a whiskey. And we see Arthur immediately pour a glass almost on cue. But he brings it to Duke, not Ada. And Arthur says, "Here's a Shelby breakfast for you," in his perfect Arthur Shelby voice. Duke declines, stating that he does not drink alcohol and he's not a Shelby, he's a Duke. Arthur replies, "Oh, you're a Shelby, all right. Don't you worry about that," only to then finish the whiskey off himself. Tommy tells Arthur, "Open up the betting shop and put Duke to work. Since Duke can't read or write, he'll just be wiping off the backboard for now." The group breaks up as they all depart, and we see Lizzie is very, very unhappy, as I mentioned earlier. Magnum Mills, we haven't had a scene all season with all the Shelbys together like this for a family meeting, really since Polly died. And so that was pretty cool here for me.
I have to say that Ada just kind of wins this whole thing immediately when she walks in. She's talking about, oh, she's late from this traffic problem. And the traffic problem is because there was an explosion or whatever. And she kind of looks at Tommy, and Tommy just kind of like slightly moves his eyes and takes a puff of his cigarette. And then Ada says, well, right, it would be nice if just one thing could happen in Birmingham that wasn't our fault, and just sits down. I mean, Ada just is, to me, I think this is the only scene in the entire episode she's in. It has almost the entire cast in it. And she, I think, wins the scene hands down. There's a lot going on here. Finn has a new wife. Tommy has a new son. And Ada wins by bitching about traffic and drinking whiskey. But I think she wins the scene.
Bro, not even that. I mean, we also have Arthur, like the first real Arthur of the fucking of the season.
Yeah.
I mean, we finally have normal Arthur. Like badass Arthur, who seems to be cleaned up, his bravado, everything's there. He's pouring drinks. Like, this is what we wanted. And even with all that, Ada was the one who stood out for you. I mean, that's really telling.
Dude,
how much she kills the
this
scene.
is so, like, I don't know if Ada meant it to be a burn, but you know, when Tommy introduces, oh, this is Finn and his new wife Mary, and you see her, she's waving, she's so happy. And then Ada, like, you see Arthur kind of like is nonplussed, like whatever, he's like looking at the scotch of the whiskey. And then Ada says, right, well, I'm very glad I dragged myself out of bed for this. And you see Mary's face, just like she kind of looks at Finn and just go,
welcome to
like,
the
she's
Shelby
just
clan,
like, wait, what? Like, wait, whoa, what just happened?
Yeah, that's no, she's she kills. I thought Lizzie was good in this scene too, bro, just because you really got to see her. She didn't have a lot of lines, she didn't have a lot of camera time, but what she did and did really well was she created her tension and her aggression and her anger towards the situation. And we talked about this for the last couple of weeks here, with that building between Tommy and Lizzie, where are they just going to completely fall apart? I mean, Jesus Christ, think about what they've dealt with this season. I mean, shit, man. I mean, they had to bury their daughter, Lizzie's only biological child. I mean, this was a big deal, dude. And what's Tommy do? He introduces a new son that has nothing to do with her. I mean, that I thought Lizzie really did a good job. She had the line and new wounds to open up, and she kind of said, and family. And then, Tommy goes back and says, not family, but into the fold. He'll have to earn his way into the family. So I thought Lizzie did a good job here. And of course, bro, our guy Arthur. I mean, this Arthur was. Now, my only critique here, Magnum Mills, and if you'll just let me opine here for a second, this was something that it felt like, okay, did they skip a lot of time in this episode from last episode to this episode? How does Arthur just get back to being normal Arthur? For the last 4 episodes, Arthur has been a shell of it. I mean, he's half the man he used to be, dude. And like, yeah, I'm talking about Stone Temple Pilots right now, but also the show. Okay, because he's literally half the man he used to be. He was, the last time we saw Arthur, he was aggressively robbing the opium den, taking everything he could, falling all over, and went face down into a goddamn puddle in the alleyway, high off his ass on junk. How do we go from that to just up and at him? Arthur's dressed, he's a leader, he's got his bravado, he's drinking whiskey, he has his voice back, he's not like soft and weak. That's my only thing. Don't get me wrong, I'm so happy to have that Arthur back. I think everyone that's a Peaky Blinders fan is happy to have that Arthur back. That's my favorite Arthur, right? That's right up there with Arthur doing Tokyo and sleeping with every chick in London. But how do we go from Arthur being so messed up and down to that? That was one critique here for me, Magnum Mouse.
I do have one thought about it. I think, because I just thought about the previously on. I think what it is that, remember in the last episode, Tommy promised Arthur when they were in the wine cellar that if he stayed sober for X amount of days, he would contact Linda again. I feel it was like 10 days or 2 weeks. I want to say 10 days, but it was either 10 days or 2 weeks. And then I think that's what happened then. So I think it's safe to assume that maybe Tommy contacted Linda after 10 days and it's a few days after that. So maybe 2-3 weeks has passed. Because that, you know what, actually maybe even a little more, because Jack was going to make his tour around Europe. And so was Mosley, went to Germany and came back, I think.
So some time
let's say a month passed. Let's call it,
yeah,
because I think it has to be within the same summer. So I think you're probably talking about somewhere between 4 to 12 weeks. So let's call it like 8 weeks, 2 months. Let's just assume that's about what roughly passed between the episodes.
I think that makes sense. It makes you think. It would have been nice for them to just put something. I'm a fan of just a black screen with white print 2 months later, like whatever the hell, dude. I don't care.
Sometimes
that's cool
you can show someone looking at their calendar book, or some like you show a calendar on the wall, or
get creative with it, bro.
Or someone
there's
just
other
says
ways
the date, they're reading a newspaper. There's
also ways to...
sometimes shows don't want to do that for continuity purposes, because it makes it, the more times you show things, the more you have to pay attention, everything. So sometimes it helps to be a little vague. Like you'll notice, like I think like the Marvel universe famously does that now. And right before the end of the scene, I just want to say that Arthur Shelby giving a whiskey to Duke and saying, "There you go, Shelby breakfast for you, son." That's going to be a t-shirt.
It's gotta be,
bro. No way that's not a t-shirt with like the silhouette art. They had like Shelby breakfast. Like that's gonna definitely, people will be using that next year on St. Patty's Day.
How happy were you
to drink the Shelby breakfast?
Magnum Mills, how happy were you to see Arthur back? Like this really made me happy. Like I missed Arthur. I legitimately missed Arthur. I appreciate the actor and what he's done portraying Arthur's struggles this season. But I really missed Arthur. I think the show really missed Arthur. It was nice to have him back here.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I just don't want to talk about Arthur too much, because we love Arthur, and not just meme Arthur, but Arthur the person. And I think he had to go through some shit kind of to get to where he is now, to the point where I think the reason he can come back around with Linda a little bit, she obviously wants the money, but also that Arthur had to be in a place now where she's not like literally scared of him or whatever. So I think they've done some good character work here, even though it hasn't been the most fun thing to watch. And that leaves us to talk about the newest Shelby, who we'll move on to in the next scene here. But that's Duke. I actually didn't mind the introduction. I thought it was interesting that he doesn't drink either. And he said he's not a Shelby. You get the impression that he's not really trying to like up jump his way into the family quite yet. He's just kind of here because Tommy brought him here. He's seeing what the deal is. Do you have any thoughts on Duke?
I thought it was an interesting choice to have him not drink too. It just, again, it kind of, they're going with this little bit of a clash, and then he followed that comment up with, "I'm not a Shelby." And so this is going to be an interesting development. I think we were right in our prediction, or at least I was right in my prediction last week, that he's going to be a character. It wasn't kind of a one and done. So we're going to see him for better or worse here, and I think his character stays. But yeah, I didn't hate this. I know we were a little bit down on it last week when they're like, "Shit, man, we got another new, there's too much going on. Like, why? We don't really need Duke." But, I'm not mad about it. It fit in pretty good. I think they're still struggling with not having John, to be honest with you. And, now they don't have John and Polly. And so it's kind of like, okay, maybe that led to the decision to do this. But either way, it wasn't bad with me having Duke in the scene.
I'll pretty much co-sign with all that. I was really worried about his introduction last week. Like I dinged the episode for introducing another Shelby son this late in the game, especially after the death of Ruby. It seemed kind of crass and some sort of narrative designed for future media or whatever. But actually, I like the actor here. I kind of like that he was pretty low key. He wasn't like body about it, so to speak. He was really just kind of there, as skeptical as anybody else, but he doesn't, his mom's dead. That's confirmed to us. So he didn't have anybody else. It makes a little sense as where he ends up. So right after that scene at the Garrison, then he walks off with Arthur to go to the sports book, to the betting shop that they own. They have a little walk through the streets, and as they walk, they have a little talk, as you do. And Duke claims that his mother was a Romany queen and his father was the Duke of Saxon-Shore. Arthur kind of doesn't really buy this, but he asks him, since he can't read or write, what can he do? Duke says that he can tell the time and asks Arthur if he can do so. Arthur looks around for his watch, which he doesn't have, but Duke has it because he's lifted it off him, because as we heard last episode, he's a thief and a pickpocket. Arthur's actually pretty impressed, and he tells him to keep it to make sure that he won't be late for anything in the future. And that's really it here. It's a pretty short scene, but again, it's fun Arthur. It gives a little bit of development to Duke. I like that Arthur kind of knows, like, yeah, all right, kid, yeah, your mom's a queen and your dad's like, yeah. And this is just fun Arthur. And I'll say one little mini prediction here. I think that we're going to see his pickpocket skills come back again. You don't set something like that up without using it at some point.
Oh, it's going to come back in a big freaking way. Magnum Mills, I think this was great writing. This really excited me from a writing standpoint. They lay the seed now with the Romani Queen and the Duke of Saxon-Shore. And then what we find out later in this episode with Tommy and Duke down by the dockyard, the shipyard, was incredible. That was an awesome development and kind of bringing that thing full circle. I just thought the writing here was fantastic. I also liked, Duke showed a little bit of attitude. Well, that's more than what you can fucking do. And Arthur's like, what'd you say to me? He's like, and then he's like, what time is it? And then that's when Arthur realizes, shit, I don't have my watch. I just thought it was kind of a cool little moment, good bonding moment between Arthur kind of being that big brother type uncle, right? And then
it plays with him being like, oh, you're a Shelby, all right. Arthur respects that kind of thing, and that's exactly probably what they would have done when they were younger or whatever. So
yep.
I think that it just kind of works overall for me. And again, it's kind of fun. We haven't had fun Peaky in a minute, and this is fun to watch.
No, it really was. Magnum Mills was a great scene. We go from there, and we got Tommy now sitting in a church pew, and he watches as Linda slowly approaches. Tommy asks her if there's forgiveness in her heart for Arthur Shelby. She pauses, only to say no, but there may be forgiveness from God. Tommy comments that she might do God's work and gets right down to business. He says he will donate $10,000 to her foundation in return for her helping Arthur on his road to redemption. Linda tells Tommy that she accepts his deal and that his money will be used to do good around the world. One thing I really loved about this Magnum Mills that I thought was kind of funny is again, Tommy's so good at these type of interactions with a topic like religion, because he, you see him kind of go from believing to not believing to what he went through in the war, and maybe now he's coming around, who knows. But I thought it was an interesting development. And one thing that was funny is she's like, this 10,000 pounds is just for Arthur's redemption, not for me sleeping with Arthur. And he looks at her and he smiles and he says something like, yes, I know that negotiation would take a lot longer and I have a meeting, and he walks away. But clearly stating that could be on the table in the future. So I thought that was kind of a cool part of the scene.
Tommy actually says no. Now I imagine the negotiation for that particular favor would take a considerable amount of time, and I have an appointment. Exactly. Like he actually pulls out the pocket. Well, I looked at my wrist, but he pulls out the pocket watch because he's cool as Tommy. What a cool ass pocket watch. Last episode, we did talk about a little bit when Tommy promised Arthur that if he stayed sober, he would contact Linda. He had the letter or whatever. And we talked about, was that real or whatever? And would that be something that Tommy would actually do? And here we actually see it happen. One thing that also surprised me a little bit is I don't really remember that much about Linda's background, but is she really like running a worldwide foundation? That seems like maybe, like, I don't remember her being that kind of level of, but she also says she's a Quaker, which I think they established. And it's like, I guess she's established that. So she's in with the Quakers and their foundation. Maybe it's not strictly run by her. She's just in the administration of that kind of.
Well, if you remember correctly, last season when Arthur tracks her down, she's at a Quaker retreat, and
when he beats the shit out of the dude, right?
And he takes the dude's eyes. That was a Quaker retreat. So that was kind of a little bit of a play in there, I think, where they parlayed that and said, okay, well, she's
just when Tommy said I would have bought the foundation, but he talks about having worldwide locations and everything, it just sounded like, wow, that's a pretty big enterprise.
Yeah, like she started a foundation. Clearly it's doing pretty well, but 10,000 pound was a big deal for her.
Well, because he also said that it got dinged during the Depression and everything too. So
I guess she's had it for a minute.
Again, it's weird sometimes, I think, what the show chooses to show on screen and what not to show, I guess, is all I'm saying there.
Yeah.
She seems smart enough to do it or whatever. Just kind of like, oh shit, like she's on a way higher level than I thought she was.
Yeah. No, and it worked out well for Tommy. Again, this is just so politics, right? I mean, isn't this so freaking politics where he's able to spend money for a cause and get something in return? I mean, it's just, but again, as we talked about earlier, his money is going to benefit things around the world. And that's positive, man. And for a guy like Tommy, dude, and we'll get to this as we get to the scene later where he's with Jack and Mosby and just these terrible human beings. That's about as good as you can ask for Tommy, I think. Is it's with intention to do good. Is he getting what he needs? Yes, but he's doing something with the intention that it will do something good. So that's cool.
Yeah, it's kind of, because I would almost say that Linda won the scene. So, like, she kind of once. I don't know. It's also when Tommy said something about that, God not needing many steps or whatever. And he kind of, I don't know. And then at the end, just the look, I don't know. I think she kind of figured out that something's off with Tommy for whatever it's worth.
Did you think at all there would be a split? Did a split second of you whatsoever think that maybe when Tommy says God might not need to take many steps, and then he takes a huge sigh and gets up and goes and sits next to Linda because they're sitting on opposite ends of the pew, and he goes and sits closer to her? Did it for a split second? Did you think, holy shit, would he maybe tell Linda before God in the church about what's really going on? Just for a split second, did the thought cross your mind or no?
No, I mean, I think there was something intentional the way they shot that with them starting far away, especially if I remember right. They shot Tommy almost from underneath him and looking up through the slats of the pew that it almost looked like Tommy was behind bars. But then when Linda walked in, they shot her cleanly, like giving her almost like the hero shot walking in or whatever. So I think
it was a side view.
They were trying to say something, I think, with the way they blocked that scene, especially.
Yeah,
and
cool
it is all
scene
about Tommy
nonetheless.
like trying to, again, I think probably close the distance between what he wants and what he needs or what he hopes, and something like that. A metaphor.
He's got to take care of his family, bro. He's got to take care of his family. That's what he's doing here.
Yeah, and that's a funny thing though. He says that, but he's sworn off gold, but he still, again, just offers her money, and it's working so far. But it's if he didn't think it's worth anything,
he does still have use for gold, despite what he may say.
Yeah, a little bit, and we'll see that in the next scene, where Tommy travels to the Liverpool docks to meet with Hayden Stagg, and Stagg apologizes for the previous encounter with Arthur. Tommy accepts his apology, and he gives Stagg a roll of money to thank him for helping Arthur, and says that he's part of the reason that Arthur is currently in recovery. Tommy tells Stagg that he's going to need him to store a shipment of guns and ammunition that will be coming in soon. He also gives him a bullet to show him what ammunition will be coming in. And if I, saw my picture right, it had Stagg kind of stretch into the bullet there.
Oh, yes, it did.
And, Tommy says that he's dealing with Boston now, not Belfast. So he's considering switching his supply line to Liverpool. Stagg kind of just takes it all in wordlessly. And Tommy asks him, don't you ever say thank you? And again, long pause. And Stagg says, thank you. Tommy gets up, starts to leave. And then finally you kind of see him just slightly move his shoulders. He can't help himself. And then he asks Tommy, kind of why is he doing all this? He can just sell this, get out, and live like an ordinary mortal man. Tommy pulls his gun on him and then puts it away. He says that junk doesn't even come close to that feeling. Tommy says when his last business is done, he will indeed be an ordinary mortal man. And then he leaves.
Yeah, this was a great scene for me, Magnum Mills. I really like this. And, I want more of Stagg. So I was glad to see this scene. I mean, this is really the second scene we've got with him. So the more they use him, the better. I'm hoping that he's plays a role next week. And then obviously in the movie, that's a big kind of name to add in there and not really use here. So I'm hoping we get more Stagg, but I thought this was really cool. And he was so good here. He's not afraid at all. When Tommy pulls the gun on him, he doesn't even flinch, bro. He doesn't, it's just, I thought it was really well done. I really like the line where, he goes and he's basically telling him, you still go around collecting please and thank you and sorry and forgive me, Mr. Shelby. Is that what it's all for? You got to hand it to Stagg, bro. He asked the tough questions, man. This is two of the most badass freaking Peaky Blinders and Shelby brothers where he's kind of got to a little bit here, right? Just a smidge.
Yeah, dude, Stephen Graham is great. And I just thought it was kind of interesting, kind of the proverbial, we might used to call a gun to your Johnson, but now I might call a garrote to the groin, or, some piano wire to the balls or whatever. You obviously have to think Stagg shows up next episode. Is he on the Peaky side or is he against him?
That's a really good question. It's just as easy as Tommy went up there and talked to Stagg. What makes you think Jack hasn't already done so? And we find out later in this episode that Jack does in fact have a plan to kill Tommy, and that decision has been made. So I think he's on the side of the Shelbys, and I think that's how he makes it and squeezes over to the movie.
Nice. Yeah, I have something for that. We'll talk about a little bit later on predictions. They call that a tease. And I'll also ask you, do you think the shifting of the supply line is strictly because of the new Boston deal, or do you think there might be any other kind of ulterior motive for it?
I think there's probably another ulterior motive. I don't necessarily know what that is, but just knowing Tommy.
My one pitch would be if he's going to get revenge against the IRA, that he wants to move the line out of Belfast then, because that would make sense.
It's leverage for him. It's leverage.
Well, because then once he goes against them, then that would fuck that up. So he'd want a new alternative in place already before he makes a move against them. And you have to think he's still going to want revenge, right? For Paul.
Oh, yeah.
In even Abraham Gold and just them fucking him over with assassinating Mosley in the first place.
Polly, like, yeah.
There's no way, there's no way that he is like forgotten about that, no matter how hard he tries.
No, I like that. I like that. Magnum Mills just dropping teaser after teaser for predictions, dude. Absolutely love it.
We're going into the finale. You got it. It's the time.
Yeah, we're running out of time, bro. No, one thing that was cool here, Magnum Mills, is how Tommy's like, gives Stag a stack of cash and thanks him, but he did not leave out the little tidbit nugget that they still owe Stag a beating, and he has a beating coming to him, and that you got to wonder when that's going to happen.
And I also like that that was a decision that Ada made, but Tommy's sticking to it. Because remember, he originally had the Black Star, right, or whatever, and Ada was the one who gave him the pass, and Tommy just abides by it. Ada abides.
The dude abides here. And the thing is, Ada was running the show while Tommy was dealing with what he was dealing up on the mountain. So, I think when he says she's running the show, he's running the show. And you also got to think, is he testing her here? Is that who will live in charge when he dies? And I mean, it's not exactly, Brandon Stark-esque, but it's close. You don't really see it coming if they decide to go that route. Sorry if we just ruined everything for you if you haven't seen Game of fucking Thrones, but this is a spoiler type episode. Who hasn't seen Game of Thrones? We're betting that you have.
Oh, it is what I just think at the end there, when Tommy pulls a gun or whatever, and he talks about like that feeling that it can't come close to junk. He does it in the answer to the question, like, why do you do all this or whatever? And I think it's pretty obvious at this point, Tommy's not doing all this for that feeling. Or I mean, is he? Is there any chance that like just
power? He
just got
power.
into this and he can't help himself no matter what is that like in his quest for having no limitations, or maybe it's the power not only to pull the gun out but not have to use it. I mean, I think they're trying to say something there besides also having a cool scene that exactly mirrors Michael Corleone in The Godfather.
Yes, it does. Good call right there. I think the gun is symbolic to Tommy being able to, the thrill he gets from besting another man. It's kind of like when you're a football player and you play the offensive line or the defensive line. If you can move another human man against his will and there's nothing he can do to stop it, there is no drug, there is no high, there is no euphoria, there is nothing like it for people who want that level of competition, period. Ask a guy like Michael Jordan, is there anything on earth like beating another team single-handedly when they know they have to stop you? Absolutely not. It's just that some people are wired that way.
Well, I mean, Michael Jordan is a guy who's famously had to write like checks for like 50 grand, 100 grand for bets made while playing golf on a single round of golf. So,
oh yeah.
Yeah, I think he understands like sometimes you need some, some squeeze.
He has a competition problem, and he said that I don't have a gambling problem. I have a competition problem.
Yeah,
and I feel
that is a direct quote. Yeah.
And I totally relate. I totally love that. I think Tommy Shelby's wired the same way.
Oh yeah, we've all been there, and sometimes, does anyone really need that win that many games of cricket at a dartboard at a random dive bar? Only me, I think, but
only you. And yes, we should play sometime. Maybe we'll do that. Magnum Mills, I love this scene at the betting shop. Okay. We get Finn. He's here.
Multiple scenes. Finn, just we're very excited.
He's got his sides freshly shaved, like Finn's in it, dude. And he needs Arthur's help, Magnum Mills, dealing with a referee who's threatening to go to the police. This guy will not get on the take. Billy comes
he was on
the
the take, but now he's threatening to be off.
Now he's starting to be off. He can't get with the program.
He found
it that way. Billy comes into the room and says that he just spoke to the referee on the phone and basically he told him to go fuck himself. Arthur tells them to bring the referee to him. I don't know about you, Magnum Mills, but I was awesome. I was so excited here when I saw Arthur like take control, like he's going to handle this, because it was a weird scene because he's reading the Bible, he's trying to, Finn's got to really force it to him. And once you see it and he like, it's like the lights go on and he's like, oh shit's about to get real, dude. Arthur's calling the shots on this one, man.
Yeah, that was that season, the early couple season Arthur, when he shuts the door and like you see like Billy's face, like when he sees like this, like he's laughing about the thing on the phone, and he's like, oh shit, like I'm gonna have to actually do something about this.
He's scared of
same thing in Finn. And the one question I had here is, when the scene first starts, you see Arthur reading his Bible, and Finn kind of is giving him some shit, and then he kind of says people are laughing at Arthur. And do you think, like, is he making that up? Are people making fun of him because he's kind of getting off the junk, or because he's being so religious? Or do you think Finn's just talking shit? Do you have any thoughts on that? I think that's kind of what spurs Arthur later on to make Billy do what he does. I think what Finn says is definitely something that triggers him a little bit.
Yeah, I think it was just Finn trying to get Arthur to kind of snap in it, like he needed him to become like Arthur, like that's what he needed. And I think he was basically saying anything he could to kind of challenge the guy, and it worked.
Yeah, it's like South Park when you gotta say Biggie Smalls 3 times in front of the mirror, right? I mean, sometimes you just gotta go to Satan's birthday party. And I just thought, again, another fun scene, and it's classic Arthur. We get Finn, they're gonna do some ill shit. We even get kind of Billy again. He comes in, he's laughing. I mean, did anybody laugh in like the last entire 2 episodes of Peaky who wasn't Diana, just laughing about like some absolutely horrible thing?
Right, no, not at all, dude. Like this was kind of the episode that basically is what everyone loves about Peaky Blinders, all wrapped up into one. And so you really got to tip your hat here for what they did. And God, oh God, by order of, this season needed this episode so bad. We went through a crazy stretch of 4 episodes. This season really needed this one to come in a big way.
Well, I mean, arguably, you couldn't do this every episode. You kind of have to do what comes up to it again to build to something. You couldn't just do this and then you have a Michael Bay movie.
Magnum Mills. From there, we go to the Midland Hotel, and we see Tommy making love. And after a minute, you realize, who is that broad? Oh, it's Lizzie. And they are making some whoopee right here, baby. As they talk in bed afterwards, they agree that they are both uncomfortable in their house after the passing of Ruby. Tommy tells Lizzie that Jack Nelson will be staying the night at their house tomorrow. After that, they have to make a move. Tommy asks if she wants to know what the move is, and Lizzie says no, she knows enough. She reveals that she went into his safe and read his list of regrets, and she was at the top of the list. Tommy says that's true. He regrets marrying her. After a pause, he says that he regrets everything that he's put her through and everything that's to come, as now Lizzie shares his fate. Lizzie rushes over to Tommy and says that he sounds like a ticking box, but she doesn't know what's inside the fucking box. This was a great scene, bro. And it wasn't because it was the first Tommy sex scene of the season. Okay, but I am going to tell you guys, it was the first Tommy sex scene of the season. I mean, we're used to seeing Tommy bang at least a couple times a season here. This was the first Tommy bang, right? And it happened to be with his wife, and that's awesome. And it happened to be in a hotel because they can still feel Ruby in their home. And I thought that was really thoughtful, actually, of Tommy, and pretty cool. It wasn't like, hey, I'm going to take you to the hotel, motel, Holiday Inn. He did this actually with thought and gesture. I just love the dynamic, dude. When Lizzie and Tommy are on, this is a great dynamic that they have. And I wish we could see it more often. And they were really on in this one, man. You really see kind of how bad Lizzie wants to be let in, but you also see how much Tommy actually loves Lizzie, but he can't let her in because he's protecting her. I thought this was really good, man.
I think it's the same dynamic when last episode they couldn't really grieve together. Here, like, even though they do the most intimate of things together when they're laying together, and Lizzie kind of comments on, but like before, like they didn't need to talk or whatever, so that's why they did. But now they have nothing to talk about or nothing to say, and the fact that she even knows his secrets. And I thought that was kind of curious that I think Tommy has the best of intentions with what he means. Like he again feels like he's going to cause like a grace, like he's going to ruin Lizzie's life even more than he already has, but she takes it the wrong way, like so you wish we never happened or whatever. And I think it's more nuanced than that. It's, again, it obviously going to make everybody very emotional. I think the episode does a great job of showing us how this wedge gets driven in between Lizzie and Tommy, despite the fact here that Lizzie wasn't happy in the last scene at the garrison, but still you see them here on a little hotel getaway, trying to make it happen. Yeah. It just doesn't, despite their efforts, it just, they kind of seem doomed, right?
Yeah, and I thought Lizzie did a great job here. I mean, you see her kind of enjoying the moment. It was some passionate sex. All right, for those of you that haven't seen it, it was passionate. It wasn't exactly Skinamax, but it was up there. But regardless of that, you see her enjoying that, and then immediately going into kind of like as soon as it's done, she's like forced back into her reality, and her reality is she's not happy. She lost her child. She doesn't feel like she really has all of Tommy. And I think deep down inside, she knows she's never going to get all of Tommy. And that's a tough burden to bear, man. It really is. You kind of feel for Lizzie. I thought she crushes in this scene.
Yeah, she absolutely does. The only thing about me is when she kind of rushed up to Tommy, she just takes a lit cigarette and just kind of tosses it. Yeah. And as part of me who's been fire and worked in hotels and stuff, and I'm like, oh no, do not toss a lit cigarette just somewhere like that to let it smolder on the carpet. Dude, I was literally half expecting like a fire to start, because it's Peaky. Why not? I was just the flames to start licking up the headboard as they were laying back there in bed or whatever. But obviously the Lizzie Tommy pairing is one of the best on the show. And the only thing I'm kind of worried about is that maybe we do not see a lot of Lizzie in the finale.
Yeah, we might not, especially given the way this one ends with Lizzie's last scene. Magnum Mills, let me ask you, man. Tommy knew that she had the code to the safe. Do you think he deliberately put those notes in the safe where he knew she could find them to see if she really cared enough to look?
Yeah.
And maybe that was his way of not having to tell her, but tell her.
Yes, kind of. Yeah, same thing with the doctor stuff. How he didn't deny what the pills were, like, oh, they were from the doctor. And she knew that the doctors were kind of trying to get a hold of him before, but it's the same thing, like, tell me everything, and when I can, we'll kind of get through that as we go here. So that kind of brings us to the next scene where we go back to the betting shop with Arthur again. Still more Arthur, more Finn. Yeah. We got it all. We get Duke's up in there. They bring the ref down there, and he's just like, nope. As soon as he gets out of there, he's going right to the police. Arthur kind of laughs at him like, oh yeah, call him up. And he shows him the ledger. And obviously, basically, the Peakies have the police department in their pocket. They don't have to worry about that. So the dude's like, well, fuck it. I'll go to the newspapers. And Arthur, he's not really happy about that. Billy tries to calm everybody down, tell the guy like, oh, this is all you got to do. Just you have to whistle a foul late in the game, get a penalty kick. The goalie will miss it. It's over 1-0. That's all you have to do is just call this the one penalty. Nope, he's not doing it. He talks about being a war veteran, which, kind of resonates, I think, a little bit with Arthur. Goes back to Tommy. He talks about how he's not afraid after having served in France. He can say, all right, give me a beating, whatever. It won't matter. And Arthur, he agrees. He looks, he says, he looks in his eyes. He's like, yeah, I know. So he tells Billy to kill the ref. Billy refuses, and Arthur says there will either be disposing of one body or two. Billy reluctantly uses the garrote to strangle the referee to death, and this is very graphic, both in the blood and especially in the Foley work. The sounds. Ooh, and Duke is watching the whole thing. He does not like this. He turns around. He's out the door. Even Finn's a bit upset here. And Arthur tells Billy that he's bloodied now, and he can't go to heaven anymore.
They won't let him in, Magnum Mills. They won't let him in. Yeah, this scene was, let's just call it what it was. Awesome, but incredibly graphic, dude. And I thought Billy here did a really good job. He was not prepared. He didn't wake up that day prepared to strangle a man to death and have his freaking neck explode on his face and shit, dude. Like he really struggled doing this, but it was literally, life or death for him. And so I just thought that was really cool. Also, again, it's great to see Arthur back as Arthur. And then one of the hidden things here was Duke, dude. Duke is not a killer, bro. Duke was not into this shit. This was really hard for Duke to see. I think it's, clearly we know from completing this episode, this pushed him away from wanting to even be part of the Shelby family. And it isn't until his talk with Tommy at the dockyard that he, figures out a way to stay, if you will. And we'll get to that in a little bit, but he was really off put by this, dude. This was a tough thing for him to witness, and it was interesting because when they brought Michael in, the first time Michael got a taste for the life, bro, he was like freaking, I'm not gonna lie
about it. He was,
oh yeah, dude, he was like Henry Hill's wife, bro, and when he first brings her that bloody gun, dude, it kind of turned her on, you know what I'm saying? But like yes, that's a shout out to Goodfellas out there in the world. If you haven't seen that, you should watch it immediately. However, Magnum Mills, Michael liked it. Duke, no, bro, Duke ain't about that life.
And again, another great scene. I think, it starts out as an ultimate kind of, Arthur, classic power scene here. You see Finn, like, he kind of sees where this is going, and he tells Arthur to, call Tommy. And, we've seen, and also I thought it was kind of interesting that Tommy put Arthur in charge of the book instead of Ada, because we'd seen Ada be in charge before. So my guess is that was kind of a reward to Arthur for staying sober. That's just how I'm reading it. Ada was there, before, so that's a little interesting. So what's Finn thinking? Like, does he want Arthur to call Tommy to have Tommy tell him to calm down, or you think there's anything behind that?
I think he's starting to lose faith in what they're going to do here, and he doesn't want it to go where he knows it's inevitably going.
See, I thought it may be called back to when earlier, because remember, Finn said something to Arthur about everyone's laughing at you. Sometimes maybe it's a thing, when some people say like, oh, everybody or whatever, they just mean them. Like
maybe he doesn't trust
Finn,
him.
Right. That's what I'm saying, is maybe it's just Finn who personally kind of has a problem with Arthur right now. And, he's trying to couch it in this, oh, everybody or whatever, or call Tommy. And it's really just Finn doesn't agree with him. And maybe Finn, thinks he should have more now. He just got married. Where's his, his bump up or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, clearly he knows he's not ready, because he did go to Arthur to, he knew Arthur was in charge and he needed Arthur's help. He needed the moment,
like, when the ref says like, oh, I'm beating, toss me beating won't matter, and Arthur says, I know, I've seen it in your eye, and then you just see Finn go, fuck.
Yep, because
he just knows. Does that. Like, everyone is, there are so many good low-key fucks on this show. Like, it should be me, but I'm too lazy to do like a YouTube supercut of just all the, like,
fucks.
People on Peaky Blinders just letting out a slow.
Yes,
they're so good at it.
It would be I would watch it, like it would be in
you probably get a lot of the ASMR people or whatever too, so it would probably go over pretty good. We really probably should actually do that. So
yeah, stay tuned, maybe we will do that.
Yeah, ASMR PBP, dude, it's coming.
Magnum Mills, you mentioned it when you talked about this, but bro, the sound effect and the blood spurt here when Billy's strangling dude, when he finally finishes and that thing pops, the gurgle did it for that. The pop sound when it just, I mean, this was some slasher, Halloween, Friday the 13th, Freddy Krueger.
It does a great job of setting up
killer.
The next scene with Billy. But I do want to say that before we get to that scene, the last thing here, didn't it seem like Arthur took a perverse amount of pleasure in pushing this on Billy? Like, and he specifically talked about him not getting into heaven. Like, it feels like a thing where Arthur doesn't think he's going to get in heaven, so he's like, "Fuck you, you're not getting in either." Am I wrong?
I think it made no.
That's the vibe I was picking up.
No, bro, you're not crazy at all. Because if you noticed, he was basically rubbing a cross shape in blood on, Billy had blood obviously from when he offs this dude. He was doing the cross shape on his forehead as he's telling him. So I think this was partially like, okay, I don't feel as bad about my sins anymore because someone else had to do this sin, and I'm also in a position to forgive this person. Someone's going to forgive me. I think it's all of that wrapped into one, and it's just, for as great as Arthur is, he's a complex mofo, bro.
Yeah, we didn't even comment. It was on the previous scene in the book, but when he tells him to go get the ref and Arthur's sitting next to Billy on the couch, Arthur keeps grabbing and squeezing his leg. That's back when, like, it established he had an injury there, so it's really hurting him. So Arthur has definitely kind of been antagonizing him this whole episode. So, it's kind of a very minor thing in that previous scene, but I think it adds up to, where Arthur has more of an ulterior motive to do this than just like fucking, killing the ref. And maybe that's what Finn was even going at. Be like, Arthur is just doing this out of a personal vendetta kind of thing, when maybe killing the dude wasn't the proper solution, because obviously they probably won't play the match now, right? If the ref is killed, I don't know, maybe they put it, who knows, or maybe
they put a different
one. Right, but they can't fix it now, so that probably wasn't the optimal solution.
You just spurned me real quick while we're on this one. You just got my memory jogged here, dude. What's crazy about it is if you go back to last season and that final episode, Arthur never trusted, well, throughout the whole season, Arthur never trusted Billy. He never trusted him. They were trying to find a rat. They didn't know who was who. Arthur didn't trust him. In fact, he specifically told, he got pissed at Finn, like physically. He got physical with, and I'm not talking about Olivia Newton, dude. He got physical with Finn. And he was talking about, do not trust anyone that's not part of our family. I think that bled over a little bit here. It's like, maybe that's a sign that Arthur's back. He's got his wits about him, but also a little bit of foreshadowing there with he was right about Billy, because we do find out in this very next scene that Billy is in fact the rat. Now, Magnum Mills, that's a perfect segue. In this, you did one graphic scene. I will do another graphic scene. Oh man, this one was tough to watch a little bit. Just uncomfortable. I don't know. It was. But next, Magnum Mills, we see Billy in the shower at a public bathhouse, and he's really struggling here. I mean, he's clearly distraught after having murdered somebody, his first kill ever. He's approached by Jack Nelson, who slips a garrote around Billy's balls. Jack says that he knows that Billy is the IRA informant inside the Peaky Blinders, and that he now works for him. Jack says that his associates will take care of Tommy Shelby, and Billy will give up Arthur Shelby. Billy agrees, and Jack makes it clear that only information leading to the death of Arthur Shelby will save him. And Magnum Mills, this was tough because he's really putting the vice on his balls here and just squeezing this thing with this. And for those of you that don't want to Google it, a garrote is basically two wooden bars with a thin metal line
with piano wire
in between. And it's just it's a strangle thing. It's a choke thing, whatever. But he's got it around his balls, man. And dude, there's blood.
And actually, it's good when you see at the end of the scene where it drops. And if you pay attention to the previous scene, they're almost exactly constructed the same. Like they're not the same, obviously, but it's a similar tool. Yeah. And obviously, again, the little irony of having him, the tool that he used to kill somebody be used against him so soon after.
And on his most sensitive area. I mean, dude, this was tough to see the blood dripping down the leg. I thought the hardest part to watch is when it's all said and done and he's on his knees crying in pain and he's got to unwrap that thing off his nutsack and then get it off. Like, it was in, bro. That thing was in. Man, I'm thinking like, God, I hope you immediately get some water on that. You don't want to get an infection. I hope that thing, you might need a tetanus shot now. I mean, Jesus, man, that was a brutal scene. But this was Jack's clearly. I don't know about you, but this whole episode, it felt like Jack had a little pep in his step. He had a little bravado here. Did he not?
Easily Jack's best episode. He comes into and he's whistling a tune. I forget what it is, but we've actually heard a couple of other characters whistle this tune before. And then he comes in, and then when he's doing the thing, he gives the whole speech, and you can kind of tell, like Tommy, he came up from a street level dude. And I think the quote is, because you see, I used to do this kind of thing for a living, and sometimes I kind of miss it. Just like Mr. Shelby, I miss the wave of electricity you get under your scalp. I miss the taste of metal on the tip of your tongue. And it comes back around at the end of the scene, when Jack's getting him all the shit after he agrees to everything. He's like, well, most of all, a man loves his balls. This is probably just, a little bit of the writers having their cake and eating it too, but this is perfect timing by Jack. He wants Billy to give up Arthur, and Billy's obviously really fucking pissed at Arthur right now. He probably didn't even have to put his balls in this whole thing. He just been like, yo, dude, you want to fuck over Arthur Shelby? Maybe not say kill, but he probably could have got it to, him to go that way anyways. And also, we get confirmation here that Billy was the informant that the IRA had back in the season finale of season 5. So, I'm just assuming that basically he has been an informer throughout his entire time. I think he was in came in the second episode of season 5. So Jamie G, do you think he's been informant the whole time? Do you think he was turned sometime during, or, any other thoughts kind of on the Billy situation here?
I think he was placed there, brought in.
They really should not hire outsiders at the garrison, right? They should just you have to have a bigger family. Just everyone have more kids, so no one has to hire outside people.
And they kind of paired him with Finn because Finn was the weak one, and they could kind of get in with Finn and build some trust. So yes, it was really well done by the IRA. And trust me, man, these organizations that are state run, if you think during the Cold War and probably even still, Russia didn't have spies planted at the watch the fucking Americans. Okay. The IRA's up there, bro. Like they're doing that shit too. Yes, he was an informant forever. The sound was also pretty uncomfortable when he tightens this thing around Billy's balls. Like they really did a good job on this.
I believe even like the closed caption had like cinch tightening or whatever, and like just to know, like it's like, oh yeah, like as a dude, like you couldn't just help to like kind of almost like cross your legs. You just it was, you know, like someone yawning and you yawn. It was you just could not help yourself.
No, this was a very difficult scene to get through, but super. I mean, as crazy as it was, we figured out huge shit, right? We figured out Jack's true intentions. He's going to have Tommy killed, and he wants Arthur too. We figured out Billy was the rat, but like all that was done with like Billy almost getting his balls cut off. So it was hard to kind of like it kind of lessened the blow here a little bit to like how profound those things were, right? Just a little bit, because you're concerned about, oh my God, dude, is he gonna like, are we gonna hear like a thump, like our balls gonna like get severed here? It was like that scene in Sniper where he's got like the rope around his trigger finger and he's like, you know what I mean, bro? Like it was uncomfortable to watch.
I went the other way with that when I went to It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where Dee says to Frank, like, and I don't know why my father is telling me this with a cinch around his penis, and then you just hear his cock ring fall off and hit the ground.
Yeah. God damn it, Dee. I gotta stay hard to keep this thing on. That was a really great scene, by the way. Just for those listening, check out A Night Pod Cometh. We do this really kick-ass podcast about one of our favorite shows, Always Sunny in Philadelphia. It's free, it's fun, it's a good time. Check it out. Magnum Mills, great scene. Let's move on. We're back now at the betting shop. Arthur sits down with a whiskey, always great to see, and man, oh man, Linda walks in. She tells Arthur that they need to begin by praying. Arthur says that he can't remember the words to the prayer as his mind is just completely messed up by the junk. Linda begins to recite the words, and Arthur remembers enough to join her, finishing the prayer. Magnum Mills, cool scene. You feel for Arthur here a little bit. You know, I didn't know if Linda, this was one of our predictions, would Linda be a thing? Turns out Linda is back and she is a thing.
Yeah, I mean, it felt kind of, I think perfunctory would be the word. Like we just kind of had to see it because you had to see. This is almost one I would have rather them yada yada a little bit, or just kind of showed it wordlessly in a montage kind of deal. I don't know. It just didn't add a lot for me. Obviously, both the actor and the actress, they're doing good stuff. And it didn't go on too long, so it's not really like I'm very upset or whatever. It's just kind of like, it was like, oh yeah, I guess we needed to see that. It didn't really, it was just like confirming what I figured was going to happen after the Tommy and Linda scene previously. So, you know, any other thoughts on that, or can we move on?
No, I think we can move on. That is,
yeah,
what
pretty
it is.
Short scene. So then we get a much longer, more intricate scene. We go over to Charlie Strong's yard, and Duke has been caught trying to steal a car, and he's got a bunch of cash that he stole from the betting shop when he walked out. Tommy says that he can steal from whoever he wants, except for Tommy. Tommy offers to give him horses and a wagon to help him on his way. He asks why Duke wants to leave, and Duke replies that he didn't take to the work in the betting shop. Tommy tells Duke about a watch that Tommy stole when he was young. It had Saxton Shore engraved in it. Duke's mother stole that watch from Tommy and used it to spin a tale to Duke about who his father was. Duke comments that he likes it much better at the yard than at the betting shop. So then Duke agrees to stay and work with the horses at the yard. Tommy tells Duke that he has plans for him. Yes, he tells Duke, he already has a son, but his affairs have two sides, a light and a dark, and he'll need one son for each. Duke assumes that he will be the dark one, and Tommy says that dark knows dark, and the people don't get to choose who they are. As he leaves, Tommy indicates that all of his affairs will need to be settled very soon.
Yeah, I thought this was a really cool scene, because I like how it started off with Tommy kind of like playing with him a little bit, like, fine, you could take a horse, but you can't, you know, and he's like, oh, I'm going to need a wagon and 4 horses, you know, and 4 wheels.
Or, yeah, taking the roll of money he stole, but giving him a little back for a train. He's like, oh, I don't do trains.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was cool. And you see Tommy kind of starting to, look, man.
Tommy was almost, was he waiting for him there? The way he's sitting there, like he didn't have to be there. You kind of get the impression, again, this being Tommy Shelby, like, did he really kind of see all this coming? But, you know, he probably got a call, right? Like, oh, you know, Duke, you know, left the betting shop.
Yep.
He probably figured it out, right?
Of course. And this was Tommy being a dad a little bit. Like any good parent knows how to kind of let their kid tell them what's on their mind without beating him up about what's bothering it. Like, you kind of let them tell you. And I thought that was pretty cool. And again, great writing here with the Saxon Shore. Tommy just, you want to know the truth about yourself? Duke says no. And he goes, well, I'm going to tell you the truth about yourself anyways. Essentially, a watch, a story, that's all you need to know about your life. It's something to that effect. And so I thought that was really cool writing. And it comes back from the beginning scene with Duke kind of saying, well, my father was a Duke of Saxon Shore, and my mother was a Roman queen. And Tommy even says, I bet your mother told you. Tommy wasn't there for that scene at the beginning. And so Tommy tells him, I bet your mother even told you that your father was the Duke of Saxon Shore, or something like that. And I thought this was a really good moment between the two of them.
And that perfectly calls back to when Duke is walking with Arthur, and he tries to say something to that effect. And Arthur's like, oh yeah, is that what your mother told you? Like how he saw right through it right away. Tommy does the same thing. A bunch of great lines here again, where Tommy talks about he has no use for gold anymore. I love when he says, and Curly's half horse himself. We don't get a lot of that. And another great line was when he was trying to talk about why Duke could live there and have a good time. He says, well, now that Finn is married off, there's plenty of girls around here. Is that why we haven't been seen Finn? Is he just slaying tail so hard that he has no time for anything else? All the dude can do is work, hydrate, have sex, sleep, repeat.
Yeah, it might be that he was just on a real bender, dude, and just on a run. He's
getting ready for his Peaky Bros spinoff. Peaky Bros, dude, are you there for that?
Like, he goes to college and it's like the Peaky frat.
They're all on their their bulking cycles and everything, and Peaky Bros.
Magnum Mills, I might be wrong on this, but did Curly look a little different? Did they change the actor this season?
I don't think
Same
so.
Guy. Let's double check that. We'll have our production team look into that. Our producer, he's a real dick, but we'll ask him. Magnum Mills, I love that line with Curly's half horse, only because it's like people. Duke says people. I didn't like the betting shop because of the people. Here, I've only seen 2 people so far. And Tommy said, yep, 2 people and horse. And Curly's half horse himself. I mean, that was cool. And I think it was a cool bonding moment.
A little skeptical that he doesn't love dogs, but whatever. He can't, not everyone can be perfect. And, I think the last thing here is, for some reason in my head, I'm like, oh yeah, I could see a possible spinoff where it's like Duke here, like he's running the yard now. If they, jump forward 10 years or so, I guess that could be kind of interesting.
And I hope
I like the actor. I thought he did good. I mean, he held his own with Cillian Murphy, dude. That's tough. Like in those scenes, kind of when he's talking about, am I the dark? It could have been ridiculous. And I was really worried about this entire Duke plotline. And I think both the writing did it well, where they integrated him, but he wasn't what you think, and they really underplayed it. But dude, the actor had to really be good enough to pull it off. And I think he's done an excellent job. So very much, shout out, kudos to the young actor.
He really did. And I got to say, I love Uncle Charlie. Charlie's a great character. Anytime they use him, it's
they're Johnny Dogs. We don't get enough of the old heads. Like,
I'm there though.
I'd like to have a prequel, but the problem is to be new actors.
Yeah, no, I'm cool with them being in a spinoff somehow though. Shelby Unlimited goes beyond the family. But Magnum Mills, great scene. Let's move on to the next one.
Ooh, you know what? Let me tell you, because this next scene, it's not limited, and it's not also, Finn banging full-time. It's just Diana Mitford maybe banging part-time. Because, Tommy had to get some petrol in the boat because he went down to meet Diana Mitford, and he talks to her about building affordable housing, and he asks for her help in gaining the support of her former husband and his family. Diana tells Tommy that she has booked a suite at a hotel close by, and her chauffeur will take them there. She says that since Oswald and Lizzie had relations in the past, it is only fair that they do so as well. Diana is much more interested in changing the world than in affordable housing. Diana implies that Tommy has to sleep with her in order to gain both her trust and her help. They go to the suite and do the deed, and while Diana seems quite satisfied, Tommy seems anything but.
Yeah, that was really tough. Magnum Mills, how crazy is it that when we threw around predictions, we're like, just after like a few beers, we're like,
we said Tommy's gonna bang every other female on the show. There's not that many.
But we said maybe, after a few beers, we're like, maybe he'll just bang Diana just because like Mosley banged his wife, like Lizzie, right? Like maybe it's a get even bang. And how crazy is it that that's how Diana uses it as a pitch for Tommy? Like, that was wild to me. That broke me a little bit when I watched this. I was laughing and I was like, oh my God, it's real.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I will
the
say is
logic.
that they did kind of a juxtaposition here where they had, because we had Tommy in two sex scenes in this episode with two different women, but the first one, Lizzie, is shot kind of slow and soft and well lit, and then the scene with Diana is frantic and quick cuts and close up and dimly lit and clothing kind of all askew, and I think they went out of their way to kind of purposely differentiate between those two. Do you think Tommy took any pleasure in this? Was this just business for him, or do you think on some level he was into it?
I don't know, man. I think this was purely business for him. I don't think he really wanted to bang Diana.
But he had to, right? The way Diana implied,
to.
She was basically like, if you don't bang me, not only is it not about this affordable housing, but then the whole thing might be off. That was the impression that I got.
I think he thinks that she is a horrible human being, and she doesn't want to. I mean, obviously, Tommy can bang anybody he wants, and honestly, I think Tommy's fine just banging a prostitute that he doesn't have to have any emotional connection with just to service himself. I think that's what he's preferred this entire time, outside of Grace and Lizzie. So, I mean, that's, in the one chick with the horses at one time. Magnum Mills, I don't think he took a lot of pleasure in it. He had to do the deed. I think he was clearly upset. I also like that the camera angle, as soon as he finished, he laid and he put his arm up and his other arm on his chest, and he's laying there and he's not real happy. He's contemplating. It's like immediate, you feel like remorse kind of. A lot of people have been there actually in that very moment. But my point being, one thing I like the camera did is they specifically showed, and they hung on to it for a second. They showed his wedding ring on his hand.
Yeah. And you see Diana looking at it too.
Yeah.
So I think that's, again, great foreshadowing about what's to come. Just to get a couple, again, great quotes on the boat. Diana is, again, for whatever she is, you cannot say that she is not straightforward. She says to Tommy, Oswald has fucked your wife. My solution is about balance and proportion. It would only be fair. And then after they bang, she rolls over and her little pillow talk is, she does tell Tommy, oh, that is simply the English aristocracy's way of shaking hands. Like, again, apparently they shake hands with their genitals. So, make sure those are real clean. And we do find out that her ex-husband, who I guess she's not even officially divorced from, is from like the Guinness Trust, like Guinness, like whether it's the beer or the Book of World Records. Obviously, you would figure that's kind of a big deal. So she is like, money, money, money. And my main problem with this whole thing is that it seems that, once again, Diana got what she wanted. I'm really sick of this woman getting what she wants, not because she's a woman, but because she's like a fucking fascist and she's terrible.
Yeah, she's a horrible human being, dude. Like, her scenes have mostly been about her. I mean, she could be freaking.
Even talking to Tommy, she makes it seem like, changing the world is way more important than affordable housing. Like, how is she gonna, like, fuck these people,
bro? How is she gonna act when she meets Adolf Hitler? She wants to jump Tommy's bones bad. I mean, she's like the real one that's gonna die in the bunker, right? I mean, that's like
did she invent knee pads? I mean, I don't even know.
She's gonna be. Yes, she's going to want him. So anyways, that's just how terrible of a human being Diane is. You're right. It's not great to see her win. She's the worst. I thought it was cool that they brought in the Guinness Trust. I mean, she is old money. I thought that was one interesting thing. The show is not shied away from big historical references. This is another one. One thing Magnum Mills about the affordable housing thing, again, I gotta believe, you could sit here and say, is Tommy doing this thing for Ruby? Is he doing it for his constituents, for both? What is his personal gain? I just gotta believe that everything Tommy's doing is strategic. It benefits his interests, and it's a good deed to offset his lifetime of bad deeds. And I just gotta believe that, right? And this seems like another one of those things.
Yeah, I mean, again, you could come right back to Tommy trying to, clear his ledger now or whatever. And obviously he's working on that ticking clock. And we hear that come up, in the episode, whether it's the bomb or, Duke asking Arthur about telling the time. Like, we do keep hearing about time and, sooner than later when he'll have to deal with God or whatever. And that's the thing. And they kind of set the mood after this because we get our montage of the episode. The music kicks in and we see Tommy, he walks back, he climbs into the boat, and then suddenly he's back in the tunnels in France, And then he wakes up in a bathtub, just in all this dirty water, and he tries to get out of the tub, and there's just dead bodies stacked in the bathroom. And then all of a sudden, bam, he's back at home. He's sitting on the stairway where we saw him in the previous episode, smoking a cigarette while sipping a whiskey. It's part of a montage here, so we'll just do the whole montage real quick, and then it continues real quick, and we see Michael sleeping in prison. And Michael dreams of Polly's funeral. He sees Tommy in front of the fire, and then again dreams of Polly telling him that there will be a war in the family, and either Michael or Tommy will die. And that's the montage for the episode. Jamie G, any thoughts about the scenes in the montage?
Absolutely. I got thoughts on these scenes, bro. Number one, when Tommy was surrounded by dead bodies, I am 95% positive that one of those dead bodies was Polly. And I think, and then after we get to the scene and we actually, my prediction, I got it. I said we would see Polly visually in this, and we saw her. She was in the dream or whatever of Michael, but we saw her, and I thought it was really cool because that was kind of something we didn't really know from last season, where she broke out that bowl of water and kind of did her gypsy, not witchcraft, but her gypsy shit, and spilled Michael's blood, and it went in and swirled, and that's how she knew that. That was kind of a cool scene, but I did like that we got to see Polly. And I'm, like I said, and then after seeing her, I said, son of a bitch, I'm almost positive one of those dead bodies was Polly's. And I like that they're just not letting go of this thing with the tuberculoma, and they're giving Tommy this symptom of the hallucinations and the seizures and shit, and they're doing it in a pretty cool way, because it's one of those things where it's like, could this just be a misdiagnosis and Tommy's just got something else going on in his mind, a gypsy curse or whatever, or is it real? And I thought this was a cool way to do it. I actually really like this montage. I thought last, episode or two, they maybe went a little too heavy on the montages. This was a good montage. It was done well, and it was perfectly placed in this episode.
I think I pretty much have to agree with what you said. I would think the one thing in a practical reality, my thought was that he kind of had a seizure and then fell off the boat into the river, right? And that's why the water in the bathtub is all dirty, and you see it kind of like dirty coming out of his mouth and out of his hat. I'm just assuming that's what happened, and he must have just kind of woke up in the river or whatever, because they kind of cut to it. I believe that the scene on him smoking on the stairs actually happened. So there's a lot of stuff that must have happened between him getting back on that boat and getting on those stairs.
One interesting thing is you saw it almost starting to come on when he finished with Diana and he was sitting on the edge of that bed. You start to feel like he had impending doom, and that might have been because he felt tremendous guilt for just sleeping with her. But it also was like, oh man, is he getting, I said to myself as I watched it, is he getting ready to go into one of his seizures here? Is it getting ready to happen? I don't think it happened there, because she would have used that as a weakness against him. And we would have found out in that later scene when Mosley and herself come storming into Tommy's home at the dinner with Jack. So clearly I don't think that happened, but yeah, I think you might be onto something there with the boat ride on the way back home.
I mean, I guess that brings us on to our dinner with Jack, right? Because we heard about it before. So we see Tommy and Lizzie, they're getting ready to have that dinner with Uncle Jack. Lizzie comments that they need to move quickly in order to catch the train to Liverpool. She also comments on the fact that Tommy has changed the combination to his safe and that he's now taking pills on a regular basis. Tommy says that they are painkillers that were prescribed by the doctor. Lizzie says that when Tommy is ready, she wants Tommy to tell her everything that's going on. And Tommy says that when he knows everything, he will tell her everything.
I just love Magnum Mills when she's kind of pressing him on what pain, Tommy, when he's taking the painkillers, and she's like, it's like, you're taking the medication. It's from the doctor, Lizzie. What's it for? Pain pills? Yes. Well, what pain? Any pain that comes, Lizzie. What a great answer. Any pain that comes. I just love this guy. Like, he's starting to get into the points with those one-liners where it's like, that's like a line like you'd see, like, any of our favorite villains and shows where we're rooting for the
I believe
bad
the
guy.
Spaceballs equivalent would be Chew Your Gum Girls.
Absolutely love this. Classic Tommy right there. This was an episode where we got a lot of Tommy and Lizzie, and it worked. It worked really well. Their energy was fantastic together.
Again, kind of a shorter scene, and you get what they're trying to put across pretty easily. Again, pretty great quote where Lizzie comes up to Tommy and says, it's like the clock has stopped ticking and I'm waiting for the bomb to explode. We are in that quiet minute. And Tommy says, that's where we live now. When I know everything, I'll tell you. You really get the feeling that Tommy honestly and truly wants to do right by Lizzie, but it seems that, you know, whether it's he's incapable of it or, you know, they're just built to be tragic lovers, it's just not happening. And one thing that I think is curious here is now that we knew in the previous episode that Lizzie knew that the doctors were trying to get a hold of Tommy. Now she knows here that he's regularly taking pills. She's a pretty smart lady, as we've seen before. Do you think she has put any of that together, Jamie G, or do you think she is still kind of completely oblivious to the fact that Tommy might have some kind of medical issue going on?
Absolutely not. First of all, any wife knows her man or spouse. That's number one. Partner, I should say. If you really love your partner, you know when something's up. She knows. I think she's scared of what it is. I think she wants to know, but also at the same time, I think deep down inside she's worried maybe it's something big. But it's Tommy, so you just never know. And you just kind of got to roll with it. But yeah, I think 100% she knows, bro. She knows.
You know, and again, I think this is just another kind of track laying scene where they're getting ready for you to, you know, kind of get hit with the red right hand that's coming pretty soon, because then we have to go downstairs to dinner with Jack Nelson. And he's kind of in a weird mood. He's, you know, very celebratory. He doesn't want wine. He wants whiskey. He's complaining about Gina and says like she's basically doing every him and her and drug and whatever, just basically fucking her way through Europe. She loves it. He asked Tommy, hey, you know, I don't want wine. I want whiskey. You want to join me? And Tommy says, no, he's going to stick to wine for now. Jack is celebrating leaving England. He really doesn't like it here. And he comments that the currency of England is blood, not money. Jack also comments that Tommy acts like an American and that when Tommy takes his trip over to America, he'll show him some things. Lizzie is very surprised that Tommy's going to America, but Tommy tells her that no, he's not going to America. He's just going to Canada to oversee the shipment. Michael will be there, and Tommy is scheduled to receive a payment of $5 million. And then all of a sudden, Mosley and Diana unexpectedly drop in. And Diana almost immediately makes it clear that she and Tommy have not slept together before making it explicitly clear that her and Tommy have not slept together. That's way too much for Lizzie, who leaves the room. We don't see her again. Mosley makes it clear that he knew about the whole thing, but they feel that in order to take the next step, Tommy needs a wife who is more suitable. Tommy pours himself a whiskey and agrees that Lizzie didn't deserve him or what he will become. The truth is, Tommy belongs at the table with fuckers like them, and Lizzie does not. Tommy says that for all he tries to hide it, he's just one of you. Could there be a sadder ending, eh?
Magnum Mills. This one was an intense scene, great scene. Jack was, again, we talked about this. This was Jack's, clearly he found his mojo here in this episode. I mean, he was on top of it. I liked his line where the currency here, it isn't money. You guys got bored of money. It's blood. And this is, he's got nut blood fresh on his hands here. I mean, he just came from freaking.
Oh, but he doesn't even mean that blood. He means
off.
like inherited blood too. And that's why he tells Tommy, like, you know, that's why you understand, because you're not from their blood. Like you can't really ever get there, no matter how much money you have or whatever, it doesn't matter, because that's not the currency. You can have all the money in the world, but your blood isn't the right kind. Right. Which speaks to the fascism of it all too. You know, again, it's tying the themes of the show together, I think.
Yep. Yeah, and I love that he was like, fuck wine, I want whiskey. I mean, banging the table. I mean, he was really animated here, wasn't he?
Well, it's funny because everybody with Tommy's celebrating, right? Like even when Mosley and Ida come, they want champagne to celebrate. And they talk about how they've accomplished all of their goals. You know, it seems like Tommy's the only one who has it. He's very somber and not feeling, you know, feeling great. And everyone else is happy and excited. And it's almost like they know, you know, you got to think is Mosley's in on Jack killing Tommy here, right? It kind of feels that way, doesn't it? Yeah, it definitely feels like Tommy is getting squeezed. A little bit here. And for once, you know, there's not much subtext here. Peaky usually has a lot of subtext. They dispense with it, right? To when even like Diana like feels necessary to spell it out, like, Lizzie, in case you're not paying attention, I let your husband put his penis in my vagina.
Yeah, and finished inside her. I mean, it was bad, and I thought
She's basically like, it was glorious. You're so
I feel
lucky.
really bad for Lizzie, dude. Like,
She
I know
definitely
that
is the
Tommy didn't
most
want that
dumped
to happen.
on character in the episode. I really hope she does not get squeezed out of the finale. The only way that would be acceptable if she is basically like, very, very, very front and center in the movie, and even that wouldn't be great. Like, she's been a huge part of the series, especially over the last few seasons. It would be a shame if she gets squeezed out now.
And speaking of maybe Mosley and Diana being in on this thing with Tommy, how did they know that Jack was there? Is that a little bit of kind of,
that's
we
one
can
part
connect
that
the dots
bothered me.
there?
I was trying to at one point be like, did Lizzie tell them? Because there's no way Jack would have. The only thing I can think of is, I guess, someone on their staff, or Billy. Could Billy somehow have known? I guess it has to be Billy, right? I mean, he's the informant. They established that with Jack from a writing standpoint. It would make, I guess Tommy would have maybe mentioned it, or it's in his, Arthur mentioned it or something, I guess. That's a small enough, I'm willing to forgive it. The only
Unless
concern I had
Jack-
initially was like, would Lizzie have ever like done it in a way to try to blow the whole thing up or something? I don't know.
Maybe, or Jack, maybe Jack, I'm going a little bit more sinister. Maybe Mosley and Diana are part of Tommy's murder, and Jack informed them. I don't know, but that was one thing that didn't really add up. Again, minor detail. This is we're picking at straws here. I mean, there's nothing bad
but
about
I can
this
almost go
episode.
the other way. Like, I could almost see like Mosley has one idea of things, and a little prediction here that maybe Diana's idea of things is different. And like, not only does she want to move Lizzie out of the way, but if she kills Mosley, she's already the one with the money. Then she can absorb his political, influence and marry Tommy, and then have a true Titan. Like, would that surprise you at all if she wasn't like a Black Widow type of bitch?
Oh God, no, dude. They've already set that up with she's not
That's
even.
what I'm saying. So I think her ultimate play might be to actually marry Tommy Shelby.
Absolutely. And she wants her husband from the Guinness family to die.
Right. So this is even why, that because she definitely has a hand over Mosley. Like, I think she wants a man that like can be on her level.
Yep. Mosley cannot. She's clearly
with her being satisfied with
pants.
his performance in the, in the hotel suite and whatnot.
Yep. And I like how Mosley put it as, sorry, Jack, little bit of housekeeping we had to handle first. After they basically spilled the beans, upset Lizzie ran off. Tommy played it cool. He really, you gotta love Tommy because he's the ultimate strategist, and he played this cool. I mean, think about what just happened. He felt bad about banging Diana and cheating on Lizzie. Lizzie finds out in front of everyone, gets embarrassed, really shitty on an episode where he's shown that he really cares about Lizzie and loves her. Kind of a shitty way to end it there.
And that's also the drawback to when Lizzie asked, like, tell me everything. And he's like, oh, I can't yet. Like, he could have told her that.
Right.
Because if he explained, like, look, this was this, or the plan is set, I think Lizzie could have bought that, because she's been, she might not have been super thrilled, but she would have understood, I think. So, again, a little bit of kind of the writers, I think, taking dramatic license here, because given their relationship and how Tommy seems to earnestly want to be able to share everything with her, that one would have made a little bit more sense to be like, look, dude, she said it was either I bang her or it's all over.
Yeah, just
what's
be honest
Lizzie gonna
with-
do? Like, leave? I mean, she does that here.
Right.
So, I would think a dude as smart as Tommy would probably pick up on that. And then we do actually get one scene after this, which, I felt was a touch tacked on. But we see a man, I believe, dressed as a priest. He goes through the jail, and they're outside for some reason. He can't meet Michael, just in a jail cell. It's in this weird, like, cubby hole where it's windy. And, and he tells Michael, like, all right, you have two choices. If you say yes to the question, you'll be released from jail. If you say no, you remain in jail. And then Michael says, he has consulted his mother, despite the fact that she's dead, and yes, his intention is to kill Tommy Shelby. Episode ends. There's one episode left.
Magnum Mills, I get why they wanted to make this the ending. I thought this scene kind of sucked. It was cool how it was like outside and snowing, and Michael doesn't have a coat, and like this creepy,
totally unnecessary. We already knew that.
Pastor guy. Yeah, but like, why ask the question? It's already been said back at the beginning of the episode that Gina literally told Michael that Jack said that you're going to kill Tom.
Yeah, and Jack told that to Billy in the shower. This was already,
I mean,
like,
it's
in theory, I think this scene had already happened, especially for the minutia of time. It might take a couple of days for Michael to get early or whatever. Like, I think the scene had already happened before those other scenes. So they all knew, and we already knew at the beginning of the season that was Michael's deal. So just seemed excessive. But I will say that super cool kind of red right hand cover, Johnsky. You could not find the artist on it. Shazam couldn't do it. Wasn't in the credits, but enjoyed that very much. Almost made the scene worth it.
Oh man, the slow kind of acapella female cover of Red Right Hand was super cool, dude. How great of a song is Red Right Hand? Like I love it.
It's one of those songs, yeah, you can mash it up a bunch of different ways, I think.
Yep.
We've seen them do it, and I've enjoyed all of them so far, so keep doing the show.
Absolutely. The score throughout this entire episode was awesome.
Perfect,
They've always been good about it, but this episode, the music was outstanding. I really enjoyed Michael's quote, like as he's saying, I consulted with my mother, and the priest is like, your mother's dead. And he just, without even missing a beat, he's like, nevertheless, I've consulted with her. I thought that was a cool line.
That's the end of the episode. Jamie G, do you have anything else in particular, something you like, disliked, anything you'd like to mention that we didn't talk about?
Magnum Mills, I think it was pretty thorough here. I don't really have anything outside of the likes, dislikes that we broke down, throughout this. What about you, man? Anything else you want to touch on?
Just the one thing we mentioned off cam when I said that I was, going through some stuff for this, and I happened to come on a thing where it turns out that the final two actors for the role of Tommy Shelby were Cillian Murphy and Jason Statham. I just, imagine how he would have said like Peaky Blinders, like, I'm just trying to think is Jason Statham boys, say by order of the Peaky Blinders, and that, just I can't even do it. I can't even do credit to it, but he would have had a particular way of saying it.
He would have had a great way of saying it. He's got that great, come on, we go back to like,
I love like Lock, Stock, and Snatch and all that.
Lock,
I
Stock,
love all the old, and even some of the like the Meg and everything. Like I love Statham. I'm not complaining. I just think it would have been a totally different show.
Way different show.
Cillian Murphy's so cerebral and such a great face actor, whereas Jason Statham's a legitimate like Wesley Snipes. He's a really great action actor. He's he's okay at the other stuff, but I don't think he's on Cillian Murphy's level as far as like the acting you can do in a suit where you don't really get to move during a scene, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and I don't know, nothing against Jason Statham. They would have not been able to take Tommy's character as involved, complicated, deep, sad as they've gone with Tommy. They would have never been able to do that with Statham. They clearly made the right decision here. It's kind of like when we talked about, could you imagine?
Statham is also reversed age now, right? He actually looks younger now than he did in Lock, Stock somehow.
Oh, he does.
It's like, 25 years ago, but he looks younger. So shout out to both.
Yeah. And sometimes they get these choices right. We talked about this with Seinfeld. It's like Jason Alexander as George Costanza or Danny DeVito. Either way would have been really cool, but they clearly got it right. And nothing against Danny DeVito. They casted Seinfeld perfectly. George is a big reason. Anyways, I think they also got it right here with Cillian Murphy. The fact that he hasn't won a goddamn Etsy or whatever the hell.
EGOT is
an EGOT is what I'm looking for. He should win everything.
Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, everything. Tony. That's EGOT. Don't slap him with it. We're trying to keep the Will Smith, Chris Rock references to a minimum. So let us not slap you in the face with the hardware, but it is time to hand out the hardware. Let's start out here and just go with our favorite piece of dialogue from the episode. I had a bunch that I liked. It's pretty easy here to, again, you can kind of like just spin the wheel and come on to, just any quote. But I really think it is, I said it before, but I want to say it again. It's that quote of Tommy from the end of the kind of meeting scene with everyone at the table where he says, the truth is, I belong here at this table with fuckers like you. She doesn't. For all I try to hide it, I'm just like you. Could there be a sadder ending, eh? And I think that's just perfect, even down to the point with him talking about the ending. That's French kiss writing for me. I think just, and again, obviously delivered perfectly by Cillian Murphy. Jamie G, what's your favorite kind of quote or piece of dialogue from the episode?
Yeah, dude, you just, man, tough to match that. This is one of those ones where you could literally throw a dart at the wall here and wouldn't be coming up short of a good quote. For me, it was a scene with Tommy and Stag. And, Stag kind of starts digging into him a little bit here, just couldn't resist himself, talking about, why can't you just be an ordinary mortal man? And Tommy looks at him and says, when my business is done, and it will be soon, I will indeed be an ordinary mortal man. And I just love this because it came up. That's how last season or last episode rather ended with, him saying, an ordinary mortal man, after he gets news of inoperable tuberculoma. But also in contrast to that, this season started out with Tommy having no limitations. I will have no limitations. He was his own God. Well, he's really not. And I thought that this was just really powerful and profound scene in an episode that was filled with great dialogue and great quotes. This was the one for me. That line really spelled it out.
Right on, Jamie G. And right before you lead us into our favorite moment, I just want to say, let me give one non-Tommy quote. And let me give it out to Jack, because when he's kind of, drinking early in that scene at the table, and, he's talking to Tommy and he says, who fucking cares about the glass around it? And you, my friend, you're an American. You fucking smash the glass, spill the blood, and you spend their currency to get what you want. I think this is kind of, Jack Nelson at his rawest, where he's kind of admitting that's why he kind of likes and admires Tommy, despite the fact that he's aiming to have him killed. He's aiming to have him killed because he's worried about him, because he thinks, he sees a lot of himself in Tommy. And again, Tommy said that earlier about to Jack actually about, sometimes the whiskey makes you eloquent, and sometimes it doesn't. And I think they have a really interesting kind of, line of dialogue going here with there definitely being some, below the surface level shit going on.
Yeah. And Jack even says, I see myself so much in you, Tommy. And he does. Magnum Mills, let's move on to our favorite moment or scene. Dude, this was, again, pretty damn tough here for me because there were so many good ones, but I got to go with just the scene with Arthur and the referee that won't take the money, won't cheat, wants to call the cops, and Arthur's cool, calm, collected decision to have him murdered by Billy and force Billy to do it. And just the graphic, when that sound hits and the blood spurts, I mean, this was just an outstanding scene. And then it was the weirdness as Billy's like, I mean, that dude's going to need a lifetime of therapy to even have a chance of getting through that. He's shaking. He doesn't know what just happened. His blood everywhere. And you got Arthur Shelby telling you, imagine that. You kill your first person and you clearly didn't want to do it. And then you got Arthur Shelby, you're visibly distraught, rubbing the blood of another man that you just murdered that's all over your face in the shape of a cross on your forehead and telling you that you've been bloodied now. You can't get into heaven. They won't let you in. Boy, that's going to really help you heal with that trauma. I mean, holy shit. Really cool scene here. Great to have Arthur back. And just everything involved in this, from the sound to the graphics to how it played out. Super cool. And we got Finn, bro. We got Finn. Shout out to Finn.
There's a lot of good stuff there. And honestly, my instinct was to go to one of the first two scenes of the episode. First, you have the cold open with Tommy and the bomb and the opium den, and then the big scene of the garrison with the whole family where Finn's getting married and they introduce Tommy's long lost son. I mean, that's double bombshell. And I'm actually going to still go with that cold open, man. That's peaky, right? And I know everyone was waiting for that, but just literally from the second the episode opens, you cut and you see Tommy walking, the needle drops, and you're in it. In the whole time through that scene, the way the tension, like especially they do a great job with the music. You have a literal ticking clock with the time bomb. The ladies, she says, oh, there's no bomb, but she's scared to give Tommy the tea. Her hands are shaking. Meanwhile, Tommy's just calm as can be, right down to when he walks away, just casually dropping the briefcase and the bomb into the walkway and walking away on a bridge over said walkway he just dropped a bomb into. So yeah, dude, that was just fucking cool.
It was very cool, and it was a big explosion too, actually, bro. Like,
yeah, I think that was practical too, from the way they shot it. I'm almost positive that was practical. It looked very awesome. If it's CG, even better. Good for you. But
absolutely, my bro. Now, Magnum Mills, it's
MVP time. I think I have to go first with this one, right? So
you do.
Dude, I wanted to go a bunch of ways on this, and honestly, it was a great episode for so many people. This was like my favorite Arthur episode, my favorite Finn episode, like at least of this season, my favorite Jack episode. 8 is in one scene, and it's with the entire Shelby clan. She steals it. Tommy's still great in every scene that he's in. And fucking Diana, who I hate, gets literally everything she wants. Almost everybody wins in this episode. So you know what? It's like a have your cake and eat it too episode. So I have to give it to the writer then, show creator Stephen Knight, because I was really worried here, dude. When last episode you added in like, oh, here's another, there's 2 episodes left of the show. Let's add another random Shelby sibling. Like that is, even Tommy's son, whatever, another Shelby boy. I was very worried. It honestly seems now that, they're going to have a little bit of a supersized finale running 81 minutes. They might actually be able to land the plane. And I didn't think they were going to be able to do that coming on the last episode. So I have to give my MVP, my most valuable Peaky, to showrunner, creator, and writer Stephen Knight. Honorable mention, director Anthony Byrne. But dude, I was really worried how you're going to tie this together. And now I have faith that you're going to do it. So that makes you my MVP, brother. Jamie G, who's your most valuable Peaky?
Bro, totally worthy for Mr. Knight. Sir Stephen Knight, if you're nasty, he totally deserves it. For me, I was going all in on Finn. Why? Because he's got a chiseled chin. I'm kidding. I just made a rhyme and it was cool. But I was going with Finn because we hadn't seen him. And all of a sudden now he's like back in a big way. He's getting married. He's freaking dealing with a referee. He's pushing his brother Arthur to deal with it. I mean, like, he was in it. But I decided I'm not going to go with Finn Magnum Mills. I'm going with Polly. I'm going with Polly because that was my prediction dating back to before this season aired. I said Polly was going to find her way into the show. At one point, I said she was going to be in every single episode, either her voice or her. And so far, she's in 4 out of 5. And I think she's going to, spoiler alert, prediction time, I think she's going to end up being in 5 out of 6. And we're going to see her and hear her next week. At least hear her. Now, we got to see her this week. And this is clearly what's driving Michael to kind of go to the dark side here and want to get revenge and kill Tommy. We had a feeling they were going to take the revenge route. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But I got to give it to Polly here because she is still so integral in this show. And she was such a huge character. And it was such a huge loss, I'm sure, personally and, of course, professionally in the show. And I like how they continued to utilize her. And it was cool seeing her this week. So my MVP, most valuable Peaky, goes to Polly. But you could make a case for any of the main stars. This episode was awesome. Boy, oh boy, bro. I think it's time. We got to hand out them red right hands.
Well, I'll give you dealer's choice. Do you want to do predictions first or red right hands first?
You know what? Let's save the red right hands for last. Let's do a couple predictions here. I mentioned I think Polly's going to show up in next episode. She's at least going to be there. You hear her. You may not see her, but you will hear her voice. Both Michael and Tommy live. That's my other one. And Arthur, I think he naturally, organically bangs Linda.
Nice. Okay. Let me, I'll try to do mine in a more interactive fashion here. Do you think that we definitively see Finn in the finale?
Gun to my...
You have to, right? Like at least on screen for 5 seconds.
I'm going to say yes. The odds are yes. Actually, the odds are no, but I'm going yes.
Fair enough. I think we both said that we'll get Tom Hardy back as Alfie Solomons under over 1.0 scenes. Like, will he be in more than one scene?
My head tells me no. My heart tells me yes. I'm always going to go with my heart. I'm going to say yes, he is. One scene and a little flash in another.
Is Tommy in that scene with Alfie?
He's in one of the two. Yes.
And Hayden Stagg. Does Hayden Stagg ever interact with Alfie Solomons?
Not yet. I'm going to say no.
Yeah, fair enough. Because I think Alfie's still over in America, right? So they probably don't. But again, in a movie, I would very much like to see that. And I'm going to say, would it be interesting if like Gina gets fucked over, like she tries to fuck Michael over, but then Uncle Jack's like, yeah, I really don't give a fuck about you. Like the way he talked about her this episode, I don't think like that she's not like favorite niece or whatever doesn't really carry that much sway with Jack. So I think maybe she gets in over her head and winds up being fucked right alongside Michael. Any thoughts on that?
I think she dies. Michael does not. and it leaves us on a cliffhanger if Michael
And that
is going
it really, really pushes Michael. I believe I said something similar to that, kind of preseason. And I still think that's very interesting. So, and anything on Ada, dude, like she's in one scene. It's literally with all the Shelbys, and she's the best part of it. I want more Ada. How do we get more Ada?
I think we're gonna have to wait to the movie. I think Ada I think she's gonna be involved, and I really think, we said it early in this episode. It wouldn't surprise me if and when, not if, but when Tommy dies, Ada's the one to kind of take control of the family. She's good at it. It wouldn't surprise me, man. I think she can play the political shit. She can basically do almost everything Tommy can do.
Does Diana die in the last episode?
God, I hope so.
God, I hope kills her.
Tommy.
I'm hoping yes, and Lizzie. That's just.
Lizzie would be amazing. Oh, bro, yes, sign me up.
Like Tommy
Lizzie.
has a gun to her head, and he's like, no, and then he gives it to Lizzie or whatever, and Lizzie or whatever, and then Lizzie does it. Like,
or Tommy has a gun to his head, and then
Lizzie's like, oh no, I'm gonna kill this bitch.
Or Lizzie does it before Tommy can.
Yeah, either way, yeah.
Like kind of like Polly was gonna, Linda was gonna kill.
Although I guess it would be kind of ironic if for some reason Mosley actually killed her because he got sick of being cocked or whatever and just fucking popped her. That I could live with that too.
Yeah, which that, and guys,
that's more realistic, probably.
And I just want to highlight this. If you're listening to this podcast right now, that's how bad Diana is. Like we're literally saying Mosley killing her, we could live with that. Mosley is a horrible piece of shit. He's the worst.
Nazi. He's Nazi, basically.
He's legitimate Nazi. He's
like Indiana Jones villain Nazi. Like he's bad. Real.
Yes.
The worst.
But then we're saying that we prefer him over Diana. So that just gives you an idea of how bad Diana is.
Because I think Mosley just goes whatever way the wind's blowing. Diana is a true dyed-in-the-wool fascist.
Yes.
Yeah, Mosley, if like socialism was going to be the thing, he'd be a socialist. He's just trying to, be with the winners.
Yes. She wants to like end races and stuff. And that's basically
and she gets
deal.
Off on it. It seems like she actually gets off on this shit. So yeah, she's the worst. I think that's it. Any other random, predictions, anything else? I guess, do we see Lizzie in the finale?
I think we do see Lizzie in the
right?
finale.
I mean,
I think we do. I mean, it's 81 minutes. It's an hour and 21.
If they're both alive at the end of the finale, are Tommy and Lizzie still married? Yes or no?
Yes. Yep. I think they're going down with the ship together, at least throughout this season. I do. Which is the final season. I mean, they're making a movie, but let's not
get the final episode of the
final episode of the final season, bro. One thing I want to ask you, Magnum Mills, before we pass out our hardware and our grade this baby, does Jack Nelson live? Is there a way Jack
I think
Nelson
he does.
dies
I think he does. I think Jack lives. I mean, he's basically American Tommy Shelby from what I kind of got. It's, and I think they're deliberately trying to draw that parallel. So, again, he's kind of like that scoundrel, but I think he's, that again, like a Kennedy, like they're kind of Tony Soprano, like you kind of love to hate him.
Is he going to be the main villain in the movie, you think, or just?
It's funny because he can wind up again flipping around and then he's an ally, right? Because this is how the goalposts are going to move because they're pro-fascist now, but then it's going to change.
Yep.
Hopefully, at the end of the day, I just need Arthur going into that Hitler bunker and killing everyone. That's all.
Yep. That's all. Do that. We will be.
As long as Arthur Shelby ends World War II, I'm cool.
He should. Yeah, they should build statues of Arthur Shelby, in our opinion. Magnum Mills, let's grade this baby. I will go first. You know what? You go first. You go first.
I just all right. Fuck it. So we got hands to give. We're gonna give out red right hands on a scale from 0, which is obviously not very good, to 100 red right hands, or on a scale to 10, whatever way you do it. It's the same thing. We believe in the metric system. I had to start this one at a 9.0, adjust up and down a little bit. There was very little that I disliked. I do feel that there were maybe a couple of scenes that were left on the editing room floor. I think there had to be a couple of narrative jumps taken to get where we did. I questioned that a little bit with like having to like do the Arthur Linda scene or whatever. Not going to touch for that, but then have to give it a couple of bonus points because man, was it a strong opening to this episode. And I thought it was the best episode of the season for many characters. So I got to go with either call it a 93% or a 9.3. Either way, that's a lot of red right hands in your face. So 93%, 9.3 red right hands.
Magnum Mills, I started this thing off at a 9.5. 5 because of how amazing this episode was. Everything I've been wanting. But then I thought maybe I'm overinflating it, and then I thought maybe I'm underinflating it. I'm settling at 9.4, 9 fingers, 0.4 of a finger. This thing is almost a full 10. This was an outstanding episode. Loved it. It's just, it sets the tone so well. And it felt like we really needed it. We came out of that dark storm of the first 4 episodes. We got this one, and now boom, we're smack dab up against the finale, and we're getting an hour and 21 minutes of it. So 9.4 for me. Red right hands, whole lot of red right hands in this one. And damn, dude, that might be too, you could make a case that that's too low. Honestly, this was a fantastic episode. It was fantastic. This season has been fantastic.
I like that you always have the runner disclaimer, like you're probably too low on the episodes, but honestly, it really shouldn't be a bit of a spoiler alert that we like the show that we're podcasting about. So sorry if we sometimes seem a little bit high on things. And you know what? Sometimes we might also lie to make friends, because, dude, didn't it look like Will Smith had that red right hand when he was going after fucking Chris Rock? And, just like that, we have one red right hand for the world because there's only fucking 1 episode of Peaky Blinders left. And the series finale is titled Lock and Key. It airs Sunday, April 3rd at 9 p.m. on BBC One with a running time of 81 minutes. The plot summary is, as the clouds of the coming storm gather, Tommy Shelby faces the consequences of his experiences and actions. And,
Wow.
Woo. I mean, I don't even yeah, dude, that's, wow. This is it.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I really hope that, I love that this is a feature length episode running 81 minutes. That plot summary scares the shit out of me. I don't want to.
Somebody's got to die.
Somebody's dying, bro.
And I don't even want to be that dude, but they also have a movie to service, so it definitely. I'm definitely scared for Lizzie. I feel here.
Yeah,
they can't kill another one of Tommy's kids, but if they need to send him over the top, they basically have to kill Lizzie or Arthur. And I feel that they'll have Arthur in the movie, so I'm worried about Lizzie.
I'm worried about her too, bro. And yeah, that gives me chills reading it. I can't tell you, Magnum Mills, how much fun this is. Doing the Peaky Blinders podcast is awesome. Watching it, breaking it down right here on the PBP, Peaky Blinders podcast, has been so much fun. We want to thank everyone for watching and liking, subscribing, being a part of the Peaky Blinders universe with us. This shit is fire. You need a group support. This is like pure group support for Peaky Blinders because it is that crazy of a show. It's awesome. Magnum Mills, you're going to do a thing right now for all these fine people out there in the Peaky Blinders podcast universe. You're going to tell them where they can find all of our shit for free. And spoiler alert, guys, we do a lot more than just the Peaky Blinders podcast.
Yeah, I mean, we really wanted to, next time for this, if you're watching us on video, get like real Peaky Blinders suits. And it's really expensive to get like a full tweed suit, and also really hard to get it shipped in time. So while you're waiting for your official PBP outfit to come in, what you need to do is just make sure that you're subscribed to PBP, a Peaky Blinders podcast on your favorite podcast platform. You can find us on social media at Peaky Podcast, and you can send us emails at peakyblinderspodcast@gmail.com. If you have anything to add to the conversation, we'd love to hear it. We're also about to cover the second part of Ozark Season 4, the final 7 episodes of the show. Find us on your favorite podcast platform by searching for Ozark Podcast, and on social media at Ozark Podcast. We're continuing to go through It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Season 11, on our Sunny podcast, The Night Pod Cometh. Find us by searching for The Night Pod Cometh on your favorite podcast platform, and on social media at Night Pod Cometh. We're from the Joe Blow Football Show, who's very easy to find at joeblowfootballshow.com, and on social media at Joe Blow Show. I'm Magnum Mills. He's Jamie G. Thank you very much for watching, and remember, everybody has a plan
until they get hit with that red right hand. This has been PBP, a Peaky Blinders podcast presented by the Joe Blow Football Show. We are not in any way affiliated with Peaky Blinders, BBC Studios, or Netflix. This show is for entertainment purposes only. Any views or opinions expressed here are personal and do not represent those of people, institutions, or organizations who may or may not be associated with the Joe Blow Football Show. If you have any questions, please contact us at peakyblinderspodcast@gmail.com. Thank you for listening. Remember to like, subscribe, and comment. By order of the Peaky fucking Blinders.